हाय हेलो और स्वागत है आप सभी का शुगर मीडियाज के एक और वॉइस इंडस्ट्री वेबिनार में। कैसे हैं आप लोग? आज का हमारा सेशन इज द 10th consecutive weekly webinar over the last 2.5 months. Over the last few months, with your amazing support and encouragement, we've been able to bring you, or rather bring to you, some of the most experienced personalities from the voice industry, some of the brightest minds. ऐसी शख्सियतें जिन्होंने हमारे साथ अपना तजुर्बा बांटा और उससे भी ज्यादा अपने ज्ञान की रोशनी से हम सब की जिंदगी को प्रकाशित किया। You know, sharing knowledge is such a wonderful thing. ऐसा ही है जैसा कि एक दिया दूसरे दिए को प्रकाशित करता है अपनी ज्योत से, अपनी लौ से। ये करने से उसकी ज्योत तो बिल्कुल कम नहीं होती, हाँ एक और दिया प्रकाशित हो जाता है। This is how the light of knowledge is spread all over the world. हमारी इस छोटी सी कोशिश से अगर आप में से कुछ लोगों के मन में इस काम को लेकर बेहतर समझ पैदा हुई, कुछ नया सीखने को मिला, अपने अंदर झांक कर एक बेहतर कलाकार बनने की प्रेरणा मिली, तो मैं समझूंगा कि हमारा ये प्रयास सफल रहा। और आज फिर मैं आपकी सेशन की शुरुआत करूंगा। तो आज का पहला ख्याल है कि आज बुरा है, आज बुरा है तो क्या हुआ, कल अच्छा भी होगा, वक्त ही तो है, बदल जाएगा। आजकल के तनाव भरे माहौल में ये बड़ी सकारात्मक सोच है और ऐसी सोच को हमें अपने अंदर जिंदा रखना चाहिए और साथ ही अपने अंदर के बच्चे को हमेशा जिंदा रखिए साहब, क्योंकि हद से ज्यादा समझदारी जीवन को बना देती है। खैर, talking about today's session, the sound engineer's voice. You know, while the voice artist weaves magic with her or his voice acting skills, the sound engineer in the studio plays the role of the silent soldier who is equally responsible for that great sounding voice acting performance. जहां एक तरफ साउंड इंजीनियर वॉइस आर्टिस्ट को सीमलेसली रिकॉर्ड करते हैं, वहीं दोस्त बनकर वॉइस आर्टिस्ट को प्रोत्साहित करते हैं और अपने बेहतरीन काम का मार्गदर्शन भी देते हैं। सॉरी, मुझे बताया गया है कि वाईफाई थोड़ा अनस्टेबल है, सो आई होप आपको अब दिख रहा है ठीक से। कैन समवन, oh lovely, so many people have joined in. Can someone say that, can someone write in that you can see us properly, you can see me properly rather? I will wait for a moment. Okay, Gaurav Naik says okay, so I will take that as an okay to move ahead. तो चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं। Talking about sound engineering brings us to talk about our guest or our panelist for today. Just give me a moment. Okay, I still am seeing Wi-Fi unstable signs. So is it better now or? Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, this looks good. My Wi-Fi looks good. And I think we will, you're almost clear, says Vaishaki Shukla Dave. Okay, let's move ahead. Let me talk about today's guest. Bishwadeep Dipak Chatterjee, one of the most respected and renowned names in the sound industry of India. This man has won one, not two, but 4 national awards for his work in the movies Madras Cafe in 2013, Bajirao Mastani in 2015, Uri the Surgical Strike in 2018, and for the short movie Children of the Soil in 2018 again. Iske alawa, he is the proud recipient of multiple Filmfare Awards. He's a member of the Oscars Academy class of 2018. He also runs the prestigious Orbis Studios in Mumbai. He's as well-versed and comfortable with some of the most amazing work in advertising and has worked with almost every voice artist in the industry, from rank newcomers to the biggest legends in the film industry. He is not just a legend, but an institution in himself. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your hands together to welcome on the screen it's an absolute honor, privilege, and delight to welcome Bishwadeep Da on the screen. Bishwadeep Chatterjee, fondly known as Bishwadeep Da by everyone who loves him in the industry, and that actually means everyone. So, Dada, thank you so much, for being so gracious, for sparing your precious time and coming on to this webinar to share your insights and to share your valuable knowledge about sound. Okay, Bishwadeep Da is back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me loud and clear?
The slight break started, but thanks for having me. The pleasure.
Something.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello.
Do we have you now? I could not hear you.
Can you?
Dada, can you say something?
Hello. Hello.
Can you hear me loud and clear?
A bit of.
Yeah, that's very unusual. Distortion. There's some distortion. Very unusual to have some distortion.
Can you hear me now?
Okay.
I'll mute. Can you hear me?
There is some distortion. Just give me a moment. Just give me one moment, and we will have it sorted. I'm trying to just connect it to another Wi-Fi network. Just give us one.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we are back. Dada, I think we are back. Hopefully, we are back.
Yeah.
This is what this. Yeah, I think this is one of those very rare times. We've never had this earlier.
As the sound person is.
People are saying that they are happy to wait, and someone is saying, "Are you playing the sound engineering trick?" Okay. Everything looks good now. I'm wondering. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me, Dada? Can you hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? You can hear me, but for some reason, yeah, your voice is lagging.
I'm getting
let me try.
Check my Wi-Fi. It's okay. Hello.
I think this hopefully looks fine now.
Yeah.
Can you connect to a hotspot? Maybe you think it could be your Wi-Fi? I'm not sure.
My
To a hotspot? In case it is.
we find and my net is also
I think what people are writing, they can hear me well, but they're having some disturbance in your voice. So,
hello.
do you want to try your hotspot or something? Or maybe, Dada, maybe you want to try disconnecting your earphones? You want to try disconnecting your earphones because sometimes maybe if they're low on battery, maybe you can use the direct audio of your phone or laptop, whatever you're using.
Fine. And
because we can are you using a laptop? Maybe we could get you on the laptop audio. Or maybe, or do you want to connect on the phone? Do you want to come on the phone, use your phone to
same thing. My Wi-Fi is fine. Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you at all. We can't hear you at all. Maybe I think if you could try without the AirPods once.
AirPods are Bluetooth.
Yeah, if you could try without the AirPods once. I think this might just maybe your audio, we've got it loud and clear. We've got you loud and clear.
This must have been a problem. My other.
Okay, one of those. Ouch! One of those rare times when technology dares to let down on you.
Now tell me one thing. Now can you hear me?
Arey, kadak. Absolutely beautiful. Yay!
Okay, I'm sorry. There we go.
Guys, everyone who's watching us, very sorry for this little hiccup. Technology, one of those things that sometimes is just not in your control. Though we have someone with us, on this webinar today, who is the master of technology when it comes to audio, at least. But one of those times when technology plays spoil sport, even on him. So
ironic.
Dada, thank you so much for joining us. These webinars are primarily a small attempt from our side to use this time, this lockdown time, last 2.5 mahine se, we've been doing a weekly webinar every week, and on one topic or the other about the craft, related to the craft. And and obviously the sound engineer or the sound designer's role is so critical to a voice artist and to the voice industry that I have never hesitated in calling the sound engineer the god in the recording studio. So let me ask you the first question. What do you have to say about this, that the sound engineer is the god in the studio?
Thank you, Darpan. First of all, thank you for having me, and thank you everyone who's joined this conversation. And let me tell you that the role of the sound engineer is to capture what you, as an artist, are going to say. So my job is, there are multiple layers of things happening as a sound engineer from my side. I'm capturing the voice, I'm setting the microphone, I'm cleaning the studio, and setting up the studio and everything else to make myself virtually invisible. Are you there? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, I have to be there without being visible and without you feeling my presence. That's what I feel should be a good sound engineer's role.
So what you're saying, very sorry to cut you, Dada. So what you're saying is you are absolutely agreeing with me that the sound engineer is indeed the God in the studio, because we can't see even God, but God is
Wow,
always guiding us.
that's a huge responsibility, but I'd like to believe that yes, that we are part of the same process, and it's so thickly related. It's so uh, we can't do without each other. So so that's definitely the truth, and it's absolutely amazing. I've been around for quite a while, and like you said, that I have seen some of the very senior people. I have worked with some of the very senior people, and for me, voice is not just the voiceover artist, but voice is also the vocalist. Voice is also the actor. So the
Absolutely.
voice is a very unique thing. I have myself also done voiceovers on request from certain people, or maybe as a scratch which got approved. But then the discipline and the hard work that you guys put in for the in voicing and in bringing out your own techniques, bringing out your own style, it requires a different kind of a mindset. I do not also have that sort of a mindset. So I did not pursue that aspect seriously, though I would have probably made much more money that way. But what happens is I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I fully understand being on the other side of the microphone has also taught me a lot of things, a lot of nuances that we need to take care while recording voice. Hello.
Ah, I think we lost you for 10 seconds. We lost you for 10 seconds.
Oh,
So what you're saying is, what you're saying again, you're proving what everyone knows about you, that you are one of the most humble guys in the industry.
yeah.
Do you
What I
can you
was
see
also saying,
can you hear?
yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. No, I'm not proving
Yeah,
anything. I'm just telling you my experience.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Uh,
Because you won the list of awards that you won for your craft. Uh, 4 national awards and multiple film awards. Uh, how do you manage to still remain so humble, so grounded? Is there something that are you telling artists to learn this from you?
I believe in one thing that uh, if you really put yourself in what you love, then the money or the awards or the accolades that come with it become secondary, really. I mean, it
They're
feels
about
really good. It feels damn good. But then it cannot, you cannot say that, okay, I've won this award and I'm like there, or I have arrived, or things like that. It does not happen. You're as good as your last project, as they say in
Allah,
Hollywood, and it's true
Allah.
everywhere. So what happens is that if you really love your work and if you really are doing your work, then you're never satisfied with, uh, usually not satisfied with whatever you're doing. So even while you're recording, while you're even as when I'm mixing something or when I'm recording something, even for you as an artist, when you're asked to deliver a voice, you always go home thinking that I could have done this better.
That's
And
right.
that's how it should be, because I am more worried about that than whatever comes in, because I know that you're never satisfied. There's always something to do. So if you're finished working on a particular project, they say that you never really finish, or you never really complete a mix, you just abandon it. So
I I get it.
yeah, so it's never this thing. So if the award comes, it feels damn good. It really feels really good, and especially a national award is a different high because it's being awarded by the president, and it's a different recognition. So what happens is that kind of should push you into further improving yourself, rather than, that's not a full stop. That's the start point. So yes, it feels very good to have all that, but what does happen is it pushes you further. It pushes you to further excel, further design tracks, further use your imagination. It kind of stimulates your stimulates you. Like I was
Absolutely.
saying, I think you guys missed out on it. I have also done some voiceover recordings. I have also done voiceovers myself.
How
I've been
lovely.
asked to, yeah, I have also been asked to do voiceovers, and which usually happened with starting with a scratch, which the agency or the producer approved and said that, okay, we want to keep this. But what I
Correct.
was also saying, it got lost in that whole
Mhm.
transmission thing, is that developing, becoming one of the leading persons in an industry in the voice industry would require a tremendous amount of discipline, a tremendous amount of riyaz in a certain sense. So it would not be right for me, without getting into that sort of seriousness, to continue doing voiceovers. It was good fun, it was nice, and uh, it was a good experience. But then I have been on the other side of the microphone as well many a times. But it is not something that I was cut out to pursue, because I believe that the training or the mindset for that is very different from what I have, and I prefer to work in uh, uh, in something that is like sound design and engineering, the engineering aspect of this
Oh,
whole thing.
wonderful. So yeah, so the two key things, Dada. You've started off with absolutely hitting the ball out of the park, because you mentioned two important things. If I can look that as a takeaway for people who are
Yeah,
watching the session, one is the importance of humility and the attitude of wanting to keep working on your craft. If
yeah,
someone of your stature, someone for whom winning a national award has become a habit, someone who the entire industry, the audio industry, looks up to for inspiration, if that person says that for me it is a responsibility now and I need to keep working at my craft, I think there's a lesson for all of us voice artists. Since this webinar primarily addresses the voice industry, and there are hundreds and thousands of voices who watch these sessions, so that's a great lesson coming from someone of your stature, that remain grounded, remain humble, and develop humility and keep working on your craft, which is very important. Because I feel, Dada, that in the voice acting industry, especially when it comes to the craft, we hardly, once we become established artists, or so to say, there is hardly any emphasis on continued learning, or on refreshing your skill, or getting better, or learning from your contemporaries, learning from your own peers, learning from someone who is a colleague who probably knows something better than you. So in a way, what you're saying is indicating that one should develop that attitude of continuously
absolutely.
learning. And the other thing that you said is what how I'm looking at it is how much you are talking about the fact that voice acting is an independent, complex craft, and for all the luxury of getting to do voiceovers that you have, being a sound designer, sound engineer of such repute, you still have the have the humility to say on camera that this is not something I can really look at for the long term, because this is requires a different mindset, it requires a different skill set. So which is amazing, and I hope that many of us who are watching this session take a cue from this. So these are two great learnings already.
Another thing which I want to say is, we believe in making things a little more complicated for us, because there is a way where you can probably say a particular line. Now you need to. Now what happens is, like, there is a particular scene that I need to design sound for. I can just put a certain sound in it and say that fine, it'll still sound the same. But then I need to make it more complicated. I need to make something more. Some magic should happen, and that sort of a thing should happen with every artist, and it does happen. Like, whether I'm recording a voiceover or whether I'm recording a singer, what happens is, like, you do a take and you realize that you can do something better. And I, sitting over here, should be able to kind of encourage that from my side saying that, oh, why not? Let's try some other this thing. Let's try this. Let's try that. So it is very we normally we need to complicate this a little more. We just can't leave it at that. Okay, we just need to say this tagline, which is essentially going to sell the product. Now, how much interesting are you going to make it is what sets you apart from, say, an average uh, person's thinking. I'm not saying, people are not limited in terms of their aesthetics or their artistic ability or their physical abilities. People are not limited for that. People are limited in the mind. So you should not fall, you should not be complacent and fall into that trap of saying that मैं तो करता हूँ बस ऐसे ही करके मैं निकल जाऊंगा. It never works that way. Then you're not connecting with your own art. You're not connecting with the film that you've come to do the voicing for, or the director, what he wants to say, or whoever the creative person is who wants it said in a certain way. My whole thing, like everybody else, is to try and surpass his imagination.
Correct.
So
Wow.
that is for you to this thing. I'll tell you a very interesting anecdote. I was new in the Bombay industry. I was recording a song, and I was working in a very small studio, and Asha Bai was supposed to come and do the recording. She was the singer, so we got it all ready. I was also trying to be be very perfect with whatever I had. And for me, who's just landed over there, and I came to Bombay in '87 after doing my sound engineering from FTI Pune.
Okay.
So this was sometime in the early '90s, where I was still very fresh into the industry. We were recording songs, and naturally, a person like Asha Bai wanted to know who's the guy doing the recording. Will he be able to handle me? Will he be able to do justice to my voice? So she walked in, and so all of us were like, I was of course overwhelmed with this legend who's just come in, and and she very warmly kind of, we introduced ourselves, and she kind of this thing. So we went ahead with, we didn't want to waste any more time. We went ahead with recording the song, and we nailed it. We nailed the song. She was very happy with the song. I was also very happy that I could do justice from my side. I was like constantly, you tend to get a little nervous when you have some stalwarts like these at a very young age. So then after the recording, she sat me on her side. She said, "Aao baitho jara," and she told me how, when she entered the industry, when she was new to the industry, how Mohammad Rafi Saab trained her to sing on the microphone, how to make yourself friendly, how to befriend the microphone. That was what she used. कि mic को अपना दोस्त कैसे बना सकते हो? And I was like, wow, these are like gems coming out of this person. So which is why I'm saying, whether you're a voice artist, you're a singer, if you're a singer, you're modulating your voice. If you're a voiceover, you're modulating your voice in a different way. So how to befriend the microphone? How do you go away from the microphone? How do you come close to the microphone? These were things that they had to do because there were very limited number of tracks. There were no post-production में इसको ठीक करेंगे या auto-tune में इसको ठीक करेंगे. All those options were just not there. So they had to be bloody perfect in whatever they did. So this is how they befriended the microphone. And for me, that was like, I was blown, because here she was sharing something that Mohammad Rafi Saab, whom I never saw because he had already passed before I came to the industry. She was sharing gems of his and how they befriended the microphone, because that itself was another subject apart from just the art of singing. So this technical interface was something which was very important. And that's what made these people professional. That's what made them stand out, I realized. At the end of the recording, there was this riwaz, there still is, of handing over a bouquet, towards the end of the recording. So the producer handed over the bouquet to Asha Bai and saying that, thank you for everything and all that. It was a gesture. So Asha Bai takes that bouquet, turns around and gives it to me and says, "Welcome to the industry." So I had melted by then. So I just wanted to highlight the reason why I wanted to tell you this anecdote is you have to befriend the microphone. It is something that is, even though we can do stuff over here, but essentially we can do that stuff only if it comes from you. So 90% it comes from you. The other 10% is what I am doing to retain that 90% and
Wow.
make it 100%. Not only just retain that 90, but make it 100. So it is very important that when you're voicing something, when you're talking, when you're saying something, it's different when you and I are talking over the phone or when we are talking over, just chatting. But
Of course.
when you're doing a voiceover for an ad, in the back of your mind, you have to understand that behind the voice, there's going to be music, there are going to be
Music.
certain sound effects coming in. So you have to think ahead and of what eventually is going to come, and what are the syllables or what are the little things that could get masked. It is not, I mean, we will definitely um, bring down the music because voice is information. Voice is the most powerful thing on earth. When there's a car passing by, you don't look around. When there is a dog barking, you don't look. But when there's a human voice, instinctively you turn to look, whether they
Absolutely.
call you or not. So
Wow.
voice is a very powerful element. So when you're having this sort of an element and it is giving you information, then priority is to make sure that nothing is lost, no information is lost. So these sort of things, from my own side, from my own experience, I have realized that there are things like the S's, the T's, the vowels, the pronunciation. All these are extremely important, and where you need to emphasize in order to cut through say a heavy music track or a heavy effects track. So the music that is there is supposed to support your voice. It's supposed to support your vocals, your
Correct.
voiceover, because it adds to the energy, but it should not at the same time interfere with your speech.
Right.
And when you don't have it, then it is just voice, and then the music kind of gets lost, and you don't realize that something is lacking. I can hear the voice, but then the energy of the film has suddenly gone down. So
Absolutely.
it is important to understand it, important to know that what is going to follow behind your track. So this understanding is what will set you apart.
How beautiful. So what you are saying, Dada, in effect is, do not, let the technology cannot replace talent, and a sound engineer or a sound designer who is sitting in the control room is there to enhance your performance by using his own aesthetics of technology and sound and understanding of sound, but the source of that talent has to be you. So do not, sometimes people have this very unreasonable expectation, especially these days. I'm sure you will agree with me, with the kind of technology we have. I can literally record one word at a time, and sometimes expect the sound engineer to put it all together and say that, okay, we've got a good take. But that is not really the right thing to do, and it's very unreasonable. So primarily, it's important to work on your talent so that the sound engineer can take it to the next level. But without the voice artist putting in his or her best, the sound engineer, it'll not be reasonable, fair on the sound engineer to expect him or her to do magic. So the magic has to first come from you.
Yeah. So I'll give you another example. It's like when somebody is shooting you. I'm sure most of the voice artists also act in films and ads and things like that. Suppose you were to be acting in a film, and if you're saying a dialogue on the at the traffic signal, so what happens is you are going to speak in a different way. Like if I'm going to meet you at the traffic signal, I'm going to say, "Hi, Darpan, how's life? Yeah, where have you been all this while?" But if I
Correct.
I cannot talk to you like that in a room sitting close to you and
Absolutely.
saying, "Hi, Darpan, how are you?" You wonder what's wrong with this guy. Why is he talking like this?
Why would you
Why
speak
do
at
we
that
do that?
tone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why do we do that? Because the logic is simple. If you wear headphones and if you're listening to loud music, If your friend is sitting next to you listening to a loud music on the headphones, he normally says, "Hey guys, check out this track," and you say, "Yaar, thoda chup ho jana, shant ho ja. Why are you screaming?" The reason he's screaming is because he wants to hear himself above what he is hearing in the headphones. So
Correct.
if that is going to play loud, instinctively, I also start projecting myself much more, thinking that nobody else can hear me. But
Correct.
that happens in the on the traffic signal, for example. So if I'm going to record you there and say that, "Hi Darpan, how are you?" and you answer back saying, "Yeah, I'm fine. Where have you been?" That kind of an energy sets in over there. Now, suppose this dialogue were to be dubbed in the studio, because of the traffic noise, excessive traffic noise, I could not keep that dialogue. So I have to come and dub this. Now I can't say, "Hi Darpan, how are you? It was nice meeting you all this while," because when the soundtrack kicks in with all the traffic and the cacophony and all that, this dialogue is going to get lost.
Yes.
You have to pretend.
It will match the environment or the ambience. Absolutely.
Yes, you have to pretend that you are standing in that signal and there is a lot happening around you, and therefore you have to lift your voice and project yourself that much in order to match what you have done on location, so that I can get a feeling of that perspective.
Absolutely. Dada, I often sorry.
So what
Please
happens is, when now my job it is to match technically what you have done on the studio and what you have done on the location, combine them together and retain something from the dub and something from the location. And when I do that, it has to be seamless. That is my job. But the 90% of the work has actually come from you, where you have changed your expression and you have
Correct.
spoken in a very high frequency voice, high pitched voice, and you have spoken that way. So in the dub also you have done that. You've made my life easy. Now, because of the clean studio sound, there is no other traffic sound behind me. Now I'm going to add that traffic sound and match it as though uh, I have been recording you all along at that traffic signal.
Absolutely.
This is what we do essentially for films. So you have to understand this. You have to understand the situation that you were in. You have to understand sur. You have to understand pitching and the difference between pitching and volume. I can scream at this level, or I can scream at that level, or I can speak at that level. Now I have raised my sur, but I have not raised my volume.
Absolutely.
This is a very fundamental thing. If any artist, any voiceover artist can understand this, they will do wonders.
Absolutely, Dada. Absolutely. Since you're talking about this, I thought let me take it one step ahead. This is something that I very often talk to people, especially youngsters and people who are aspiring to get into the craft. I ask them a simple question. I ask them, how many people do you know who get paid to speak or who get paid for their voice? Because many a times people take this craft for granted. बोलना ही तो है, मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. So I ask them a simple question. The answer usually, even if there are 100 people in the audience, usually 1 or 2 people know someone. 10 लोग अगर होते हैं तो बोलते हैं हम किसी को नहीं जानते. So usually it's 1 or 2 people who would raise their hand and say we know somebody. So it's negligible. So I ask them a counter question. I say, if speaking was so easy, then how many more people would get paid to speak? So one of the critical things that differentiates a layman and a voice actor is a voice actor is trained to fake it. So we are trained to believe. So the example that you gave is so beautiful, that if I have shot a scene where I was at the traffic signal, but now when I'm in the studio, in the confines of my very well air-conditioned voice booth, वहां तो ना कोई ट्रैफिक की आवाज है, ना कुछ, ना मेरा दोस्त है सामने. So I have to fake it. I have to train my mind to think that there is a friend and there is traffic noise, and accordingly, like you rightly said, accordingly my mind will tell me कि ये सुर पकड़ना है बोलने के लिए. And it's such a complex thing, and how beautifully you put it across, that it's such a collaborative process that till the voice artist doesn't do his job, it will be difficult for you to get your job right. Correct. If the scene has a voice.
Absolutely.
So that's a very important. These are nuggets of wisdom. Dada, which I'm sure a lot of people out there will appreciate, especially voice artists. And that's the whole idea of these sessions, to get people who are up there, to get people whom we look up to, who inspire us, and to get them to tell us, what their side of the story is about the craft, which is exactly what you're doing. And to get someone like you is an absolute honor and privilege. Nada,
Thank you.
you worked with, virtually, like I was saying in your introduction, right from a rank newcomer to the biggest Bollywood or Hindi film or Indian film celebrity. I'm sure even people outside the country.
Hmm.
If I ask you, what are those most important qualities that you're looking for as a sound designer, as a sound engineer in voice artists, what would you tell us?
See, first of all, you have to understand yourself. You have to understand, if you are coming into this voice industry, then there has to be a reason. Chances are that you feel that, or maybe you do have a good voice. And maybe people have told you that, you have a very nice voice. Why don't you do some, why don't you do, like, voiceovers, or why don't you, get into acting, and why don't you do things like that? So at some point, if you really feel that that is something that you need to do, then everybody has the potential. Everybody has the potential. Everybody has a voice. But you must understand what your range of voice is. It'll be silly of me to think that I can talk in a female voice. It does not happen. It's not possible. It's a timbral quality. It's the hormones. It's the genetic makeup, whatever. But I have a range of voice. You have to understand what your range of voice is. And usually in voiceovers, what people equate good quality quality with voice is if you have a booming, deep kind of a voice. It's not always necessary to do that. If that was
No,
the case, then Shah Rukh Khan wouldn't have been a Shah Rukh Khan. He does not
absolutely,
have a voice like Mr. Bachchan.
absolutely.
So you have to understand your space. You have to understand. You have to be the actor. In this case, there is no camera. You're just a voice actor. But then you have to understand you understand the story, the situation, and that's when you can speak. That does not stop you from becoming a good voiceover artist. See, if you're a voiceover artist and if you're fairly good, suppose you have been proven, but then I should also, as a director or as a filmmaker or as an agency person, recognize that talent. If I do not recognize that talent, or if I cannot understand this concept that यार ये क्या voice over करेंगे, इसकी आवाज तो बहुत ऊंची है, it is not your limitation, it is my limitation, or it is my different kind of an expectation. So that should not limit you. That should not limit you. So you definitely can, if you have a mid-range, as a male, if you have a mid-range kind of a voice, or if you have a slightly high-range kind of a voice, you will be used in whichever capacity at whatever point. Today, we are breaking that mold. You need to have a deep voice.
Indeed.
If you look at it, if you look at David Attenborough's wildlife uh, uh, documentaries, you hear his voice. It's so soothing. It's so sweet. It's not a deep voice.
Absolutely.
But it's a very sweet and convincing voice for the documentaries that he makes. It adds to what the animals are doing. It's giving the animals a character. That's his personality. He's throwing his character into that of the animals. If they are doing this, if the animals are, if he's talking about birds or animals or fish, his voice is actually giving the whole thing a meaning. It is giving them a character. It is giving the film a flavor, a kind of a tonality. But he is not the deep, heavy, deep kind of a voice. But he's very convincing. I love hearing him, and he has a worldwide fan following.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But at the same time, he is lucky to have been doing documentaries on like this. And many of you must have also done the translations of these documentaries in various languages. So you would have also understood this, and you would have also kind of they would have cast you probably because you're sounding close to David Attenborough kind of a voice. But what is necessary is no.
Incidentally, I've recorded the Hindi for Planet Earth series on BBC, which was the English was done by him. So yes,
Amazing.
I know what you're saying. It's got a very rustic. He's got a very rustic, natural style of speaking.
So I'm saying that unique quality, to be able to use that unique quality, is something that I, as a director or a filmmaker, should recognize. So please do not feel that you're not good enough. That is never the case. So if you're starting out, if you're new at starting out, you will start out and you will do a good job. But remember, if there are 10 good voice actors that you've heard of, there are 10,000 that you have not. Correct. So you have to be an edge above them, and you have to understand that it comes from the mind, not just from the voice.
How true. Could not be truer. Absolutely.
And it's a tough industry, so don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. There are places, there are times where there are, when I have started out, there were a lot of singers who were singers, composers, actors who were not singers, actors, and composers back in the day. They would come and sit in the studio, and they would come with their demo cassettes, and they would want to play it for me. From my side, I would never discourage a person. So when even today, when people come to me with demos of their singing tracks or their voice tracks and stuff like that, I listen to it and I tell them that I need to be happy first. If I'm happy, then I will recommend you. But if I find you to be lazy in that, then you need to do something. You need to prepare yourself. So I listen to it and I tell them that I'm going to be a critic over here. I'm not here to clap and say, "Wah, kya baat hai." This is not a housing society program. So if you're bringing something that you are going to compete with the best in the industry.
Oh yes.
So you have to know कि as a singer, आपका सुर कहाँ चला गया है, and where you're going off tempo. Why aren't you? Why is your pronunciation not right? Why are you singing with this pronunciation? Do you know it changes the meaning? So these are things that you have to understand, and this is also there with the voice artists also. Pronunciation is something which you have to completely master. You cannot say that you can pronounce it like this. Nobody, if I'm speaking your language, if I'm speaking in Tamil, or if I'm speaking in Odia, or if I'm speaking in whatever Marathi, I am expected to, even if I have to fake it, I am expected to be convincing enough.
Absolutely.
So voice is something called, there's something called phonetics. You have to understand that you may not learn how to read and write that particular language, but you have to understand the quality of the word. You have to understand the phonetics of the word.
The way the word is constructed.
The sound of the word. So, a se a ho gaya to meaning change ho jata hai. So you have to be very careful, because many of you are going to sing language versions or say language versions or speak in a different language. Or if you want to be a voiceover artist in Hindi, then you have to make sure that you train yourself to speak well, which means you need to read well. I have come across singers who have learned Urdu.
Right.
To read and write Urdu, because they were very particular about knowing what this sounds like, or what it should read like, and why it should be like that. I cannot just fake everything all the time. So I need to have a deep understanding. If I'm singing ghazals, I need to know Urdu. Then I will automatically become a better singer than somebody who's trying to fake that Urdu.
Absolutely.
So what I'm trying to say is, try and understand the phonetics of the language. Try and understand the language. And the deeper you go, the more you open up your mind. So my little words of advice, but I have seen I've seen what makes these people a little more special. what makes them special, and they continue even today in spite of all these things. They listen to you, they listen to what they have recorded, they come and they say, can we improve on this, can we do this, can we do that? And uh, they have to and I, as a technician, I'm always encouraging the fact that yes, of course we can improve it. I'm not looking at my watch and saying that, okay, I need to go home, that this is good enough. Chal.
That's the right attitude to have.
I cannot do that. I'm not cut out for that, and you're also not cut out for an ordinary work. So together, I think we can make magic if both of us are thinking on the same plane.
Absolutely. It's so important to have the right attitude to go that extra mile,
Yeah.
So this is no ordinary craft. Nor is sound designing, neither voice acting nor sound designing. So both have to complement each other. जैसे हम लोग मजाक में कई बार कहते हैं कि साउंड इंजीनियर और वॉइस आर्टिस्ट का मियां बीवी का रिश्ता होता है, where the sound engineer is the wife because she's always right and you've got to listen to her. So that's so important. And how lovely, how true. Have the right attitude, work on the craft. Like you rightly said, no voice is bad. Awaz, and coming from you, coming from someone whose job in a way is to listen, is to all the time listen to audio. It could be ambient, it could be music, it could be human voice. So someone like you who has probably heard thousands and thousands of people, you are saying that no voice is bad. Understand your voice, identify the range of your voice so you know your limitations, work on your acting abilities, and most importantly work on your language. क्योंकि जैसा हम जानते हैं, कितनी भी अच्छी आवाज हो आपकी, अगर आपकी भाषा सही नहीं है या अगर आपका उच्चारण सही नहीं है, तो the best voice in the world will be rejected. क्योंकि like you said, ये रोजमर्रा की बातचीत नहीं है. You're getting paid to speak, so you've got to sound extraordinary if you want to be extraordinary. You can't be an ordinary guy anymore. So which is so important, Dada. When you spoke about the right attitude, you spoke about some people who even though they are up there, they have the right attitude. You worked with so many leading film stars. When we talk about film stars, the general attitude is that we're not sure how well do they look at or how well do they understand the voice acting part of their craft. So is there any incident, is there any anecdote or some actor about whom you want to share about their voice acting skills or how they are in the studio, what their attitude is, something that we can learn about?
Oh, the biggest one is Mr. Bachchan himself. He started off as a voice artist.
Of course, in fact, failed as a voice at All India Radio.
Yeah. He's extremely conscious about his voice. Like every girl is very conscious about her looks. He is very conscious about his voice. So he will want to hear what he sounded like. He will play around with texture. He plays around with texture. Can you believe it? So, and that adds meaning to it. That adds depth to it. Not depth as in terms of deep voice, but depth in terms of meaning to that particular scene. I have seen this person really do wonders. I know there are most actors of his generation were used to only do film dubbing. They are still not, some of them who are still around and working, they're still not comfortable with the whole sync sound business.
Correct.
With Mr. Bachchan, it was, ye kya hai? He was such a wonderful voice, he's such a wonderful actor that this sync sound was not a hindrance for him.
He took to it
no
very
hindrance
well.
for him.
Wow.
He just slid into this. He just understood that. And so you get like really good quality stuff because of the way he modulates, the way he kind of understands or plays that particular character. And when he comes to dub, he's equally at ease, because there are a lot of actors who do good sing sound, but they get very flustered with this whole dubbing business. They say, "Yaar, humse nahi hota ye sab." So there are a lot of such actors also. But Mr. Bachchan, I would say, is the ideal who really has no issues with whether it's sync sound or whether it's a studio job, whether it's a voiceover, whether it's a dialogue. He just smoothly slips into it. And he really is this thing. If you are saying that, why, sometimes what happens is you just sit and from your expression he can make out, because at this stage I cannot say ki, sir ye wala sahi nahi tha. He knows
Correct.
sahi nahi tha. Who am I to tell him this? He's been there and done that several times over. But you kind of step into that, you don't want to step into that space where you kind of want to tell him that, your reasons could be very valid, that he's not really nailed it the way he should have. But there's a way of communicating that with him as well. So a person of that seniority. So, and when you play it back and then there's no kind of a reaction from you, and he will ask and you will tell him that, okay, what you had done like 2 takes earlier was better. If it's fine, if it's, I mean, if you can, then good. Otherwise, we have that. He said, no, let's do it again. We'll need to fix this problem. If you're not happy, I'm not happy. So this is the kind of attitude people like him have. So, and he's on set, like if it's a 10 o'clock shift, he's on set at 8 o'clock. So
Wow.
that is, there are some people who really believe in that. So it's like, even at this, he doesn't need to do it. But he loves his work. He loves this thing. He needs to be there. And the moment he lands up on set at 8 o'clock, there's by default a discipline on the set itself. So he is one person that I have seen that I would say, as an actor and as a voice actor, he's one of my favorites.
Wow.
There are, of course, many others like that. There are many actors, most of the good actors that you have, they are in some way or the other. They had their own style. Irfan had his own style of speaking. He had his own way of delivering dialogues. For Bajirao Mastani, the starting was like, a voice. One of the ADs had done it. He had a good voice.
Mhm.
But Sanjay wanted, like, let's have somebody. So I said, why not have Irfan in the starting this thing? He could have said, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's have Irfan kind of introducing the film, the opening lines of the film. Let's have Irfan's voice. Irfan was shooting in Jodhpur at that time. Jodhpur or somewhere in Rajasthan at that time. And so we sent sound recorders there who recorded him and then brought the stuff back. It could not happen over the phone because it was for film and it needed to have that proper quality. So we got a professional microphone and things in place, and it got sent to us, and then that's how we put it on the film. So you needed not just the voice, you needed Irfan. So
Yeah.
it's not only about the voice, but it's the personality, like David Attenborough. So
Absolutely.
my whole thing would be like, to most of the voice artists is, don't just be a very passive voice artist. Be an actor. I want to know you not as a voice, but as Darpan. So I should be able to say that, oh, this is Darpan's voice. Oh, Darpan really makes it really rich. So
Absolutely.
your personality should come in that thing.
How beautiful! How beautiful! This is, something like this could only come from from a sound designer, or from someone who understands voice beyond the physical element of the voice. So with your
Yeah.
kind of experience, with your kind of understanding, not just of voice, but, or rather, not just of audio, but you need to have had a rich life in terms of experiences for you to have that kind of depth, those kind of layers. And I guess these are the things about someone like you that makes you who you are. Because there are so many sound designers, there are so many sound engineers. There is, there is a technical part to it, there's a creative part to it, and then there is something called your personality which you bring to it. And I guess you have that edge of this rich personality which lends, to every project that you work on.
It's fun because what happens is, working in advertising has, I'm able to, like, I'm associated with a lot of voice artists, and it's fun working with them. Sometimes what happens is, when you require, like in Madras Cafe, we needed somebody to play that Prabhakaran's voice, and I insisted on my good friend Vijay Raghavan that okay, अभी Tamil तो तू ही बोलने वाला है. I don't see anybody else. I don't hear anybody else's voice. I only hear your voice over here. So you better be available for this. So I told the production house, and they contacted him, and it was my decision. It was squarely my decision. They told me that, okay, whom would you want to have? I said, I want to have this. The production guy comes and says, but do you think? I said, don't talk to me about expense. I detest people who don't value somebody. It's not just about money, it's the attitude I'm talking about. So I need that person, whatever you need to, that is your problem, but I need this person. And fortunately, they take me a little seriously these days. So I kind of did put my foot down, and I wanted Vijay Raghavan for that. So we got talking. I mean, for general, what should I say? Classically speaking, the Tamil that they speak in Sri Lanka is very different from the Tamil that they speak in India. But since that was not the main criteria in the film, so this kind of a discussion I had with Vijay, and we kind of spoke. So he said, now, I mean, let's do it for a general Indian audience. It's not like, we don't have to convince people that, this is a Sri Lankan Tamil, he has to speak a Sri Lankan Tamil, because the other characters have not spoken. Mm-hmm. So these are little things that you kind of discuss, and, you wish that, it was a Sri Lankan Tamil, and it would have made it a little more realistic. But that didn't affect the film, and it was largely in Hindi. So those smattering of those particular dialogues were okay, I mean, as a passing thing.
Correct.
But it's fun. It's fun kind of associating, working together, having your own kind of people in this whole process.
Dada, what you just said, this incident that you shared with us, it brings me to another very important point that I often talk to people about. When we have people coming in as fresh voice talent, or people starting out into the industry, and all they want to do is they want to go and reach out to the maximum number of people and audition with them. And, they just blindly do that. I often tell them one thing. I tell them that if you are good at your job, if you know what you're doing, and if you can impress someone with your craft, go to one studio. Don't go to 10. Just go to one studio. If the engineer there likes your work, he'll be happy to put you on to 4 people. And if you don't know your job, and if you're not good enough, then even if you go to 10 studios and pester the engineers, they will not put you on to even 1 person. What you said right now, a small little anecdote that you shared, that you needed, a voice, you needed a voice actor for a certain role, and instinctively, you thought of this person because you know that he does a great job, his work, so you did not hesitate in recommending him to your producer, to your client. This is such an important thing. I hope this reaches out to more young artists, to tell them that focus on your craft. If you're good at your job, the sound engineer in the studio can be the best friend that you can ever have. Would you agree with that, Dada?
Yeah, though I didn't mean this to come out that way. But see, what I do is, when people come with their demos, my way of thinking is, everybody will try. So, kuch bhi kar le, they will all go and try and spread the net as wide as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. I'm saying that if you want me to speak to you or to recommend you somewhere, I need to be convinced. And for me to be convinced, these are the things. But that does not mean, I also tell them, that does not mean that you should not go around trying somewhere else. Maybe somebody is satisfied with something less. So
fair.
Don't stop your money flow there if you're getting your thing. You'll end up, take those as practice sessions. Maybe you've done a bad job over there, but then you'll hopefully learn from that. But do not forget what I told you about this, because this is reality. So do not forget that these are the things that, if there's a voice mein ye hai, it could go to this sort of an improvement. I don't criticize or discourage. I don't believe in that. I have never been told that you're not fit for this job. Maybe one or two guys would have said it, and but then it's something that that if he's saying it, then he's saying it with some other motive. It's not he's not being true to your thing. But whatever it is, like a child, if you discourage a child, he will automatically lose motivation. He will
Absolutely.
always grow up thinking that he's not adequate enough. So, and this is a creative field, and all of us, Darpan, are very sensitive.
Oh yes.
So what I try and tell them, like the conditions apply kind of a thing, or like a statutory thing. I tell them that you have to be prepared that for criticism, constructive criticism. So where there is scope of improvement, or I will bring to your notice that every time you are hitting this particular note, why is it going flat?
Correct.
So you need to work on that. You need to work on that. Or if every time you're speaking this word, the pronunciation is not right, well,
Correct.
you need to improve on that. So these are constructive things. I cannot listen to it and say, "Boss, tere se kuch nahi hoga. Tu nikal yahan se. Don't waste my time." I feel ridiculous. I feel ridiculous because most of the guys I have worked with have grown and today are at top level. They're top level singers or directors or this thing. Even the lowest point, this thing is, there are a lot of new directors, fresh directors. I don't want to come across as intimidating to them because I am interested in their work as well. I want to know because they come in with fresh ideas. I don't want to be imposing. So I believe in a very democratic style of functioning. I believe that everybody in it should be together. It should not be restrictive. My seniority should not intimidate a very young artist
Absolutely.
or a very young technician. I do not want to intimidate. My thing is first put you at ease.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, one thing I believe in is why take yourself so seriously? After all, this is the entertainment business. So it's not worth it. It's not, worth getting heart attacks over. Yes, there is a pressure for money. Yes, but you have decided to come in. Nobody is forced you in this field. So don't get discouraged. Keep fighting, and you will always, always, always come out. Do audition, but try and go to a person first. Darpan, if you're the instructor or if you're the person, I would say you're the best critic. If you're the teacher, if the student is your student, then you're the best critic. You are a practicing professional. So nobody can be more harsh than you in terms of the criticism.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, of course, what you say from your perspective carries a weight because you know that person and that person knows you, so it is possible. I don't know that person, so I may not be able to talk to that person, say, "Ki boss, tu 10 jagah pe kyun ja raha hai?" I will not be able to question. It's not my business.
Absolutely.
You as a teacher or as an instructor or as a mentor will be able to tell that person.
Absolutely.
I can see that वो 10 जगह जाने से तेरा कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, यहाँ पे पहले दे इसको. So I can very well understand your position.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
that is because you are the mentor and you are the senior person who is kind of mentoring this junior artist. In that sense, I would say that trust your instructor because he's a practicing professional, and that's how they should understand.
And the fact also remains that someone like you are what I would call a dream client or a sound engineer or to go to. Kyunki what you're telling us is not exactly how the world functions, Dada. You know that. That's not how the world functions. In our industry, it is very difficult to get a second chance to make a first impression. And today, in the world that we're living in, there are far more people who are looking at getting into this craft every day. So all the more it becomes important to work on your skills, and sometimes if they get someone like you on the other side of the room, who is so motivating, encouraging, not judgmental, that's a rarity. Trust
Thank you.
So all of us, when we started, I started about 22, 23 years back. All of us, my contemporaries, we had nobody to go to. We had to work up the hard way, learn from our mistakes. Today, we can't afford that. Today, you need to get your act right. You need to be good enough. Maybe not great, but you need to be good enough to make a beginning.
Let me tell you one thing, Darpan, there are no shortcuts.
Absolutely.
So even in today's world, If it took you 20 years to be what you are, it will take anybody today also 20 years to come to a position where you are. Getting a chance to do more work does not necessarily improve you as an actor
Mm.
or as an artist or usually mostly as an artist, because what happens is you mellow, you become better with age until you're physically unable to deliver. See, if I am working and if I'm sounding old, I cannot fake a young voice.
Yes.
So if you're going to cast me, you're going to cast me as an old person on film or as an old voice to match the face. So that is
Absolutely.
a biological change which is going to happen with everybody. So be prepared for that also. So, but
Absolutely.
what I'm trying to say is there are no shortcuts. It does
Yes.
take you that little bit of time. You cannot, after doing three projects, you cannot call yourself
Absolutely.
an established this thing. You can never call yourself that.
Yeah.
So even at this stage, I'm sure you will be thinking that I could do it. You're still waiting for your dream
Also,
project.
I
It
always, I
happens to
always,
me.
I always say this, Dada, that every day
Yeah,
I wake up
yeah,
with the same excitement that I had 20 years
yeah,
back of facing the
yeah.
microphone. Every recording, I'm as nervous as it's my first. I'm as excited as it's my first, and as nervous it could be my last. And I
Yeah,
think that's the most important attitude that all of us probably have.
absolutely. And always try and help each other out, because that's something which will, you hold each other, then you kind of progress. You kind of, there has to be a certain kind of a unity amongst the technicians, among actors, among
Yeah.
artists, among singers. There has to be a certain, uh, what should I say? There has to be a good relation.
Yes, yes,
Be
absolutely.
Try and be a better person so that that I can vibe with you or I can feel comfortable with you. That everybody can feel comfortable with you. You cannot
Absolutely.
fake this. You
Yeah,
cannot
you
fake
cannot
this.
say this. And I think that's one area where the voice artist community has been lacking. But of late, the small little initiatives are happening, which are bringing people together. Our association is doing is trying a lot to get people together.
That's very good.
Our initiatives at Sugar Medias, we are trying to create a small platform. India Voice Fest. We had the honor of having you at the first edition of India Voice Fest.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, in 2019 we did not have you, but
Yeah.
I am right now on a public platform. I'm requesting you that for India Voice Fest 2020, we want you to be there in all your glory,
Thank you.
and in many more ways than you were in 2018. So I hope we will have you this year, Dada.
Thank you. Thank you, Darpan. And I
And
hope this corona goes away very soon so that all of us can really, come back to our old selves.
I know, I know, I know. But I guess all of us have now, have now equipped ourselves in a way. Many of
Yeah.
us are now operating out of home studios. How are you happy with what is happening? Is there any tip that you want to give to voice artists who are doing work from home studios?
See, change is inevitable. You cannot say that, I need the best microphones. The best microphones at home may not work.
Correct.
The best microphones will not work because you can hear the neighbor auntie, hear her television serial is probably going to come more into your microphone than your own voice. If it's a very
Yeah.
sensitive and the 2.5-3 लाख quality का microphone की जरूरत नहीं है. So don't think that you will need, of course, that microphone will have a certain quality of voice, but it also has a soundproof studio for you to operate in.
Correct.
So, but having said that, make yourself do your little bit of research where you can have something which will not compromise your voice quality. At the same time, it will not be so sensitive that it brings in the entire neighborhood into your microphone.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it is a good initiative. It is always a good thing to have a technical knowledge. Do not be ignorant of our side of the work. Also, as a sound engineer, I'm saying. So do not be ignorant of my side. Try and learn. Try and get as much as possible, because that will make you independent. Because
Absolutely.
what happens is, if you know your microphone, if you know your this thing, it is not with the objective of becoming a recording engineer. It's you trying to send your data to me, and for that you need a basic setup. There are a lot of these setups on the net. You can do the research, and you will need to pad up your room a little bit more than usual. If you're a voice artist, make sure that your bedroom or your room is kind of padded up. Don't make an expensive like studio acoustics ki zarurat nahi hai.
Correct.
But what you do need is some deadening of the thing so that your voice does not reflect off empty walls and sound hollow.
Correct.
And be close to the microphone. Make sure that you don't speak too loud or distort your signals, because that will take away from, because if I'm making, adding highs and stuff to that, these distortions will kind of get amplified. So make sure that you have enough level in your microphone. And if you hear it yourself in the headphones, you will know that whether it is distorting or not. So make sure that your signal level is adequate enough. Make sure that there are no disturbing sounds in that. And it is a very good exercise. I would, in fact, recommend most of you to get the basic, learn the basic softwares, equip yourself with these things, because I don't see things coming back to normal in the next 1 year's time, very frankly.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Dada. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. मजबूरी में ही सही, but आत्मनिर्भर बनना सीख लिया voice artist ने धीरे धीरे.
Correct. No, what has happened is it has reset everybody, because when the lockdown started, we were traveling with a certain momentum, and we got completely psyched by this thing that suddenly stopped us all on our tracks. It's like,
Yes.
Somebody getting off a train and you kind of run with the momentum of the train. So this momentum, really put a halt on us. Now, sadly, we are beginning to enjoy this. This we are beginning to become complacent over here. But nahi, what I am doing is the reason I have no real work in the studio. Mera backlog ka jo kaam chal raha hai, and my pending film work takes a long time anyway. So I'm doing those kind of things coming to the studio. But it's more like I'm pretending to come to work and they're pretending to come to and pay me. But I did not want to get stagnated at home. So I was, with the necessary precautions, I'm coming to work, going back early. It's kind of bringing, trying to set this thing rolling again.
Absolutely.
So it affects your mental health. Don't feel depressed. Don't feel sad. Try and utilize this time, because this was meant to be. Abhi, don't feel that, paisa nahi aa raha hai, wo to rahega, sabka tension hai. It's never enough for us in whichever field. Utilize it for reading, utilize it for updating yourself. Definitely invest in things like good, decent microphones for home. Make it a little more constructive, but don't fall into depression for this. There is a lot that is left. And I believe this because a lot of mental health issues are taking its toll, especially in Bollywood. And we are also a part of an industry where, we are sensitive people and we are creative people. So be very careful and always be, unlike COVID, be positive.
That's a wonderful way to end our interaction, Dada. And I can't thank you enough. Your presence. I'm sorry about the little initial technical hiccup, something that was not in our control. But once but once we got going, it has been an absolute pure gold in terms of everything that you've shared with us. And I'm sure the hundreds and thousands of people who will watch this session in times to come will only feel very enriched with your insights. And as a token of our love, we have this beautiful box called the Sugar Box. This has homemade brownies, which will reach you tomorrow. It has the most amazing homemade brownies in the entire world, especially because they are made by my son, who is an absolute darling. So these will reach you tomorrow, Dada, and I hope you enjoy the brownies and the Sugar Box.
I'm so happy that I've earned it.
Earned it, and how?
Thank you.
It's an absolute honor.
Thank you for having me.
So much. Thank you so much, Bishwadeep Da. You are such a humble, grounded person. I hope all of us always get inspired by you and learn a lot in times to come. Also, once we say goodbye to Bishwadeep Da, we will play our contest today, which will have questions from this session. And as you know, that the winners will get these customized Sugar Media's diaries. And although the lockdown is preventing us from sending these by courier, but I think in the weeks to come, once the lockdown is lifted, all these will reach all the prize winners, even of the last few weeks. So yeah, thank you, Dada. Thank you so much. And we'll see you hopefully soon on the other side in real
Thank you.
life.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That was such an amazing, session with Bishwadeep Chatterjee. He's one of those people whom I adore, respect so much, and he's such a grounded, humble person. It is, trust me, I've spent my life in this industry. It is very rare to find someone of his stature so generous with sharing his skills, his knowledge, his experiences. And I think it has been an absolute privilege for all of us at Sugar Mediaz, and I think for the entire voice industry, to have his presence here today. So let's move ahead quickly, and I'm going to ask you the first question for today. And like always, the first correct answer on YouTube and the first correct answer on Facebook will win these amazing customized Sugar Mediaz diaries. So the first question coming up, again, just a disclaimer that you might find your name flashing on your phone as the first answer, but I'm using a streaming app, and all the comments from YouTube and Facebook come to me on a screen. और मेरी screen पर जो मुझे पहले answer दिखेंगे, I will probably have them as the winners. So here's the first question about Bishwadeep Da from today's session. Are you all ready? I guess you are all ready. Okay. The first question coming up for today from this session, the sound engineer's voice with India's most renowned sound designer, Bishwadeep Chatterjee. First question comes now. Which place did Bishwadeep Da get his sound engineering education from? That's the question. Which place did Bishwadeep Chatterjee get his initial sound engineering education from? Let's see. Let's see. Okay, I've started getting answers. I haven't got the right answer though. Okay, I need the right answer. And the right answer needs to be right. So I've got some answer, but it isn't right. Okay, Madhubala Jain, after writing the answer wrong twice, she sent the right answer first. Okay, Madhubala Jain on Facebook has put in the right answer first, which is FTII. Although Sitesh Srivastava wrote the entire answer, but you came in second, and the first answer came to me, FTII came to me from Madhubala Jain on Facebook, and on YouTube, I've got the first beautiful answer, the complete answer, Film and Television Institute of India, Pune, in sound recording and sound engineering. I've got this from Aruna Kumar Malegowda, from Aruna Kumara on YouTube. So I've got the right answer. The two winners are Madhubala Jain from Facebook and Aruna Kumar from YouTube. Okay, so these are the two winners for today. I have another question coming up. For this question, let's have the question. Okay, let's have the question. The question is, now let me put it very clearly. I need the answer absolutely correct. I need the answer correct in its entirety, the right spellings and the right names. I want the names of the 4 films for which Bishwadeep Da got the national awards. I want all the names correct, right spelling. Jaldibazi mein mat likhiye. The right spellings, all the 4 names correct. The 4 films for which Bishwadeep Da got the national award. Okay, let's have. Okay. अरे अभी तक पहले सवाल के जवाब दे रहे हो आप लोग. I need the answer to the next question. Okay. Anubhuti Jain. Okay, I'll tell you what, Anubhuti, you've already got a prize from us. I think the last week, Anubhuti. So I think let's give a chance to someone else. Okay, हम ये करेंगे कि पिछले 2-4 सेशंस में जिनको प्राइज मिला है उनको हम चूज नहीं करेंगे. You know, we'll love you for being there always, but आपको तो अभी पहली डायरी भी नहीं मिली है, तो पहले पहली डायरी मिल जाने दीजिए, उसके बाद अगली डायरी के लिए फिर आप वापस से आप कॉन्टेस्ट खेलना. सो अब देखते हैं किन किन को. Okay, okay. I've got Gyan Chandra on YouTube. Madras Cafe, Bajirao Mastani, Children of the Soil, Uri. Okay. Gyan Chandra on YouTube. And I've got इनका सबसे पहले आया है जवाब. And then I've got Raghavendra BK. Raghavendra BK says Bhaji Rao. Sorry, spelling गलत है Raghavendra. आपने भाजी राव कर दिया, बाजी राव है, भाजी राव नहीं है. तो अगला जो है अभिषेक मिश्रा ने अगला सही जवाब दिया. अभिषेक, आपको लास्ट टाइम प्राइज मिला है. So let's move forward. Or so okay. So Gyan Chandra on YouTube has given the right answer. How sweet, Anubhuti Jain, you're such a sport. She says no issues. I absolutely love the sessions though. Thank you so much, Anubhuti, for being such a sport. Thank you so much. तो हमें Facebook पर कोई सही जवाब नहीं मिला है अभी तक. We've only got an answer from Abhishek Mishra. So let me do one thing. Let's give it to Raghavendra BK, क्योंकि आपके अलावा किसी और ने, आपके अलावा सिर्फ अभिषेक मिश्रा ने सही जवाब दिया है, जिनको ऑलरेडी प्राइज मिल चुका है पिछले हफ्ते. So Raghavendra BK, you won the award with Gyan, the prize with Gyan Chandra. So these lovely Sugar Media's diaries will reach you very soon, and I hope you, once you receive the diaries, I hope you will put up a picture and tell us about it. And okay, I guess it's been a long session today. शुरुआत में थोड़ी सी टेक्निकल हिकअप्स हुई जिसकी वजह से थोड़ा टाइम बढ़ गया, but hopefully I think the content of the session more than made up for everything. So अगली बार फिर मिलेंगे, और तब तक के लिए goodbye and thank you for joining us. And keep sharing these videos with your friends. Even after the video, even after the live session, the videos are available on Facebook and YouTube. It'll be great if you can share these with your friends. Ask them to connect with us on our page, Sugar Medias on Facebook. And we'll try and keep bringing you interesting stuff from the voice industry in times to come. Thank you and goodbye.